Your Lie in April follows a young piano player named Kelsey Alima, who unfortunately has trouble playing the piano because of a previous traumatic incident that happened when he was very, very young. However, this young girl comes into his life who tries to change his opinion on all of that, and his love for music starts to flourish again. And yes, I am reviewing Your Lie in April. That was 100% intentional. I went into this anime kind of blind because I really didn't know what to expect with this series. And I've got to say, what I ended up seeing really did surprise me. And the biggest positive I can give this show, right from the word go, is the main group of characters, the main friendship group that you latch onto throughout the entire series. They are so likeable, and I just wanted to spend more time with them. And I know that's saying a lot, considering it's like 23 episodes long, like most animes are. But I like these characters so much that I just genuinely wanted to see what happened next, and I genuinely wanted to spend more time with them. Kelsey, I really like as a main protagonist, and I can understand his troubles, and I really did like the way that the animation showed on a very literal level how his fear of playing the piano materializes in his head. They do this really clever thing whereby he starts playing the piano normally, but the more his mind becomes bogged down with fear, he suddenly starts to feel as if he's underwater, and the notes become more and more drowned out, and he can't hear the stuff he's playing. And it's just really well executed from both a sound department and animation department as well, because there's only so many ways you can really visualize the fear of something. So the fact that they were able to make it so convincing and interesting all the time is really impressive, and that leads on to the next thing. The animation in this show is really, really nice to look at. It's beautiful in some moments. There are a couple of points where the animation is a bit iffy, but to be honest, for the most part, the animation is really, really gorgeous to look at. The character of Kaori I thought was a very interesting love interest to bring to the whole thing. And it really works with the dynamic of that main group of friends. I thought she was really interesting. Like, from the moment you see her, you know she's not quite normal. And as the series progresses, you kind of understand a lot more why, especially towards the end, with a final episode that is just so emotionally powerful that it really hits you right there. But yeah, her character is just the right balance of intrigue and mystery, but also genuine likability, that there's enough of her character to latch onto throughout the runtime of the show. There are a few points where her mood swings can be a bit out of the blue, I suppose, but as the series progresses, you do realise that that's kind of how her character is. One of my favourite characters in the show actually is Tsubaki, Kelsey's best friend that he's had pretty much his entire life. She's really good, and I like what they do with her character. The fact that she's having trouble trying to properly get into words her feelings towards Kelsey, and I really liked how they, what they did with her character and her relationship with Kelsey from the start to the end, because there's some nice little repeated moments that kind of mirror each other from what they used to do as kids to what they do now. And I just really like that whole dynamic and how they chose to represent it in the show. However, two of the most interesting characters in the show are these rival pianists that keep appearing at the competitions that Kelsey enters. I really did find them more interesting than a lot of the other characters in the show, especially Tuzaki, I think that's his name? No, Takeshi, that's his name. I really liked him and how his arc plays out towards the end. I really thought that was quite ingenious, actually. Unfortunately though, the show is not with its faults. The first problem I have with it is that I do feel as if it gets a bit too melodramatic for its own good. Like, there are a few times where, yeah, the whole visualizing his fear can seem quite cool, but when it does it about the 6th time in a row, it does get a bit repetitive and does feel like it's a bit full of itself in terms of, like, being over dramatic. Like, oh no, I can't do this anymore. And I realize that's a trope in anime, I suppose, but it does get a little bit annoying after a while in this show. Also, like I said, some of the animation in specific moments doesn't hold up as well as you'd think it would, but for the most part, the animation is stunning. Also, and I don't know why I didn't say this at the start, but considering that this is a show about musicians, the music is really good in the show as well. Whether it's the main opening theme of the show, or whether it's the musical performances they do throughout the series, just the music in general in this series is just really well handled, and they really do have a good understanding of what musicians have to go through, and how anxiety plays a part when performing live. So I thought that whole aspect was really well executed as well. In the end, I'm going to give Your Lie in April a 7.5 out of 10. It would have gone a bit higher if it wasn't just so overdramatic and full of itself at points. But that being said, the characters are likable enough and the animation is so good that it's, strong enough for me to give it the grade that I have. Also, like I said, the ending is just so emotionally powerful that I think you'd be very hard-pressed not to shed a tear at it, because, I mean, me watching it, I found it very hard to hold back. I did have a lump in my throat as I watched it. So guys, that was my review of Your Lie in April. If you enjoyed the video, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bye.